Hi, I'm your host, Scott Dr. GX Goldfine, welcoming you to another episode of Where'd You Get Your Funk From? Shout out to PTFI for the funky theme music. For this episode, I'm delighted to welcome Romanian multi-instrumentalist singer, songwriter, and producer Saoul Bumbu. Profoundly inspired by one-man band artists like Sly Stone, Stevie Wonder, and Prince, since 2012, Saoul has released 8 albums of consistently danceable and thoughtful funk and soul music. His latest work is a wonderfully fun, in both sound and title, Electric Peachy Cocoa Fuzz. Sal, thank you for being here, man. How are you?
Thanks for having me, Scott. I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Good to see you. Glad to make the connection. Thanks for making it happen.
Yes, yes. Thank you.
Yeah,
Uh,
I know we had a little bit of a delay, but we made the hookup now.
we linked up now. Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you for having me on your new show. I'm quite honored. I've watched your Truth and Rhythm, a lot of the episodes, and learned a lot. Got inspired a lot. So cool.
Yeah, definitely cool. Glad to hear that. And
Yeah.
that's what it's all about, just
Right.
spreading the funk, spreading the love, spreading the inspiration, all that good stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
Saul, where are you today? Where are you coming to us from?
I'm actually in London right now. And I've been here for 7 years now. I lived in Reno, Nevada before, and before that, Germany, and then born in Romania. So, I like to saying the world is your oyster, as you can tell. And, I've been quite a lot of places, and I'm just, spreading the funk wherever I can. So, but yeah, I'm in London right now. It's rainy, it's cold. We had 2 days of summer this year. So they cheated us out of a summer. Um, yeah, that's where
Everyone,
it's at.
everyone I talk to over there, I've never been, but they always complain about the weather.
Oh man, it's ridiculous. And I heard everywhere else they were frying up. People. I talked to people in America, in Nevada, hot as hell. In Europe. So yeah, we stayed cool pretty much consistently this year. It was crazy, but it's cool because I just stay in the lab, man. I just stay nice and warm and fuzzy and get busy with it. So
Yeah, that's like with Minneapolis. I always say, how much that
right,
contributed to that music,
right,
developing because it's too cold to be outside.
absolutely.
Yeah,
And it keeps the bad people out, right? Like Prince said.
that's right. That's right. Yeah.
Right.
So, Saul, with the new program, the first question is always going to be the title of the show, which
Okay.
is, where'd you get your funk from? And it's kind of got 2 parts. One
Okay.
part is, where'd you get your funk from in terms of music? What inspired you initially and drew you to funk? And
Yeah.
then the other part of it is how has that kind of, contributed to just who you are as a person as well as a musician?
Right. Right. Well, I say P Funk is definitely where I got my funk from. And that's just thanks to my parents, who were some very cool, free spirited, um, young couple that had an exquisite taste in music and fashion. So when they left Romania during the dictatorship, as you know, we had that whole communism thing going. And the first thing they bought was a beautiful vinyl collection. So I was growing up around Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin, but then I also heard George Clinton, Funkadelic, Temptations, Marvin Gaye. And one of my earliest memories is hearing that song, Don't Stop the Music by Yarborough and Peoples.
Mhm.
They used to play when I was being rambunctious and running around not listening, and that song will put me in the place. It's a golden memory, man, and I to this day love this song. And yeah, but I really got turned out into the funk when I met P-Funk in 96, 97. They came to Germany, and I had a friend, actually a rather famous friend. His name is John Davis, who was one of the original vocalists of Milli Vanilli, if you remember. Well, what people don't realize, behind Milli Vanilli, there were some really talented musicians, and John was one of them. He was one of the original writers and vocalists that you would hear on the actual record. And I met him in Germany, and he knew P-Funk, you know. So when they came to town, John kind of hooked me up and, you know, got me backstage. And first of all, it was a 6-hour funk fest extravaganza. I've never seen a concert like that, right? You know, George and them, they play forever. And I was blessed to see Gary Scheider was still there. Am Fiddler was there back then. It was just amazing, man. My mind was blown. And then meeting them, you know, I got kind of tight with Michael Hampton. He was very cool. And it was just amazing, man. It changed my life, you know. So I think as far as funk goes, it's definitely the mothership, you know. Prince, of course. You know, my thing with Prince is I got into Prince kind of late. It was actually during the Symbol album. You know, I bought the album, and it was just, as you know, the album is so broad in genres and styles, and it just blew my mind. And I kind of went backwards with Prince. You know, after buying that, I just went and bought the whole collection and kind of worked myself through it. So, yeah, Prince, I mean, you know, how much funkier do you want to get? And then, you know, through Prince, actually, he opened up my taste into jazz, into fusion, I started listening to Miles Davis, Mahavishnu Orchestra. It just, you know, because it was really an eye-opening moment for me. Just his taste in music, you know, and what he would bring to us. So, yeah, so that's kind of, for me, where I got my funk from, you know, the best, the best to ever do it. Really.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And what about in terms of, you know, give us an idea of, you know, how you are as just a person, you know, what kind of, you seem kind of mellow, you know, I don't know, it could be, you might be mellow here, but you might be like tense when you're in the studio. I don't know.
No, I'm, you know, I'm all about love, and I'm all about positivity. And if you listen to my lyrics, that's what I try to spread as well, especially in this mad world we're living in. I think that's so important, you know. And back in the 60s, 70s, that was the message. And I kind of really, I feel that, you know, I think it's missing today. A lot of this new modern music is almost demonic. I don't know. It's just, I don't like it, man. It's a different mindset these days. But for me personally, you know, listening to what I just told you, all that good 60s, 70s music, that message actually rang true for me in my personal life and how I am, you know, every day in general. So I like to bring that forward, you know, through my art as well. I think it's very important. I believe in, you know, I believe in God. I believe in spirituality, and I believe music comes from God, and I like to glorify that through the art form as well, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, man, just positivity, you know.
Yeah.
Have you had your plus sign today? I mean, that song, you know, was a big one for me. And, you know, most of those bands were about that anyway. I mean, Sly Stone, Stevie Wonder, you know. And then you look at Stevie Wonder, man. I just always give him as an example what a great human being he is and the things he does, despite, you know, it's just so inspirational, man. So I like to shape myself after those models, you know.
Yeah, just such
Yeah.
great models. They're heroes of mine for sure too.
Right.
Um, um, and then, when did you first start, trying to make music and, did you start on keys or what happened?
Actually, my parents, after they got to Germany, they got divorced. I guess it was too much freedom. And anyway, you know, it happened. But my mother met a man, and he became my stepfather, and he was a musician. Now, he played more like different kinds of German music, but he had a beautiful 68 Les Paul at home. And I wasn't allowed, but I would sneak in my little sessions, just trying it out. And I just fell in love, man, with guitar in general. So when I started my first job, I started with 16 to work as a graphic designer and sign maker in Germany. And literally with my first check, I bought me like a Strat Squire copy, the cheapest one I could get. And my next check, I would buy a Tascam 4-track machine. Back then, it was the little 4-track, tape recorders, and that's how it started for me. Just guitar, and then eventually, um, I got a little cheap Casio and started, plunking around there and just listening to the records, trying to copy what was on there, and going back and forth. That's kind of how I learned. It was long before YouTube and all that. So it's that was my beginning pretty much. And then, as I told you, I met this guy John Davis, and he happened to have one of the first digital studios. It was a big thing, back in the 90s, digital studio. And he had like a 24-track studio, and we kind of became friends, and he took me under his wing and taught me a lot of things about production, songwriting, things like that. So he was a big mentor for me. And yeah, so that was kind of the beginning, my little Tascam 4-track. I love that baby. A lot of hiss, a lot of tape noise, but I loved it.
Do you remember like the first couple of songs that you kind of learned or taught yourself?
You know what, Scott? I managed to make a rather clean demo tape, and one of the songs on there was called "Baby Let Me Smell You." It was one day I'm going to release it. Right now it's confiscated by the FBI because it's very, very naughty. But actually, I got to play that tape for Michael Hampton. He because they were there 2 nights, and me talking to him, I happened to give him the tape, and he came back the next evening, and we talked again, and he said, "Man, you are funky. That's some funky shit. You need to come to America, And he actually gave me his phone number. So I actually had a direct line to P-Funk, back then, which was very cool. Um, so yeah, those were one of the first recordings. I was still, finding my sound and trying to experiment, and but it's just, believe it or not, to this day, I'm I'm trying to emulate that sound. Like, now I'm using digital recording, and I have, Pro Tools and all that. But there's always some tape plugs on there. Trust me, there's gonna be some tape fuzz and some dirty grain. That's a given. I fell in love with that sound, and I grew up on that sound. I mean, all the vinyl records and cassette tapes. So
Before you started like composing your own stuff though, did
yeah.
you like learn how to play any P-Funk or Prince songs or, that kind of thing?
Yeah, I learned a few Prince songs, the simpler ones like The Cross, which is 2 chords. uh, but you just, like I said, I used to go back and forth and find new licks and find bass lines. Sly Stone was a big one because obviously because of Larry. Larry Graham was a big key moment for me because that bass really defines the groove in the song, the structure. So a lot of that I learned from Sly and Larry. I actually do you remember in the 90s, Larry had a family, no, it was the Larry Graham Central Station reunion right before
Yeah.
he met Prince.
Yeah.
And they came to Germany, right? So we went to the concert, and a friend of mine, he pulled me on stage, and I got to sing "If You Want Me to Stay" with Larry Graham. Man, it was amazing, and I got to meet him. It was actually right before him and Prince got together. Which was cool.
I met him around the same time, mid '90s. He played the House of Blues in Hollywood, California, and
Nice.
got to go backstage and met him. And he was so nice. Signed some records for me that I have on the walls. You can't
Oh,
see because I have
nice.
the background now, but
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, what a great guy to
very
meet.
cool guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and their band was tight. Their
Oh
band was
man,
tight. Yeah.
stop it! It was the tightest. They just got tighter and tighter, as they went on. I mean, it's ridiculous, but yeah, man. And again, positivity. I mean, we talk about all these acts, but what shines through for me is their positivity and the message of love. Um, that was always a big one for me.
Did
So
did you try to play in front of people at all, or were you always just kind of a studio rat?
no, actually I played even in daycare, kindergarten. We used to do imitations. Me and my cousin, he was doing I don't know, he could play like guitar. I couldn't play it, but I was doing like Michael Jackson imitations and dancing and break dancing. So I was always performing, man, since I was little. And then when I started doing instruments, we done like they had a weekly jam session in the town I lived in Germany, in Nuremberg. And I was always there, playing stuff for people. But it was just, here and there. Um, and then once I moved to America, because see, Michael Hampton and John Davis and some other people say you need to go to America because your sound is not going to do nothing in Germany. Back then it was all techno and it was all that rave stuff. And I found out one of my uncles lived in Reno, Nevada. And I reached out to him and he's like, yeah, you should come over. They have a thing at the university. You can sign up and they'll give you like a scholarship thing. And I did it. The minute I was 20, I just moved to America, man. I was determined and I made that jump. And once I got to America, I met a few people. But in Reno, it's kind of like more of a casino town. So most of the bands there are cover bands, which was great for me because I kind of cut my teeth with just being in a band and how it works and being tight and rehearsing and all of that. So that really started in America, I would say, more so doing live shows and really putting it on.
Well,
But
why'd you leave America?
actually, I lived there for a long time, like almost 20 years. But I came here because there were some opportunities here. And I came to London. The pandemic broke loose. And I just decided to stay. Um, I can, my plan is to come back. And, I have family there, obviously. But here, there's more, I would say, an appreciation for the art form of American music. Like they really dig the soul and funk music, especially of 70s and 60s. And there's so many radio shows and things going on. And when I play here, the audience, they're very cool, they just like the real shit, man. You couldn't come with a multi-track player and just sing some behind the track. You got to bring the band here, man. You know.
So when you play in front of people, do you stand guitar mostly or what?
Yeah,
Yeah.
guitar and vocals. Yeah, sometimes keys, but it depends. But mostly guitar. Yeah. So, and that's actually why I am right now. I'm putting together a little 5-piece band, and 2025, man, I'm gonna hit the road. Hopefully, come back to the States. You know, do a East Coast, West Coast thing, and hit some places in Europe. We got a lot of offers here to play festivals. But I just been focused on putting material out. Every year, as you know, I've released a new joint, and just really owning into my sound and trying to find where I'm going. So
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you've been so prodigious with that. And
yeah,
um a lot of artists, can't say that, it takes them a long time to come with something. So
yeah,
that's one of the rewards of following somebody like you, as you keep delivering. Um,
right,
especially for the funk genre. There's so few acts that
yeah.
put out records, period, let alone, every year.
Oh
So
man,
yeah. Um, what
yeah,
what do you remember like when you made your first record? Because I think you've done about eight of them now, right?
yeah. I've got 8 full length and a
Yeah.
couple EPs. Yeah.
So when you did the first one, how did you feel about that? And what were you hoping to accomplish, just on the first one out of the gate?
It was an accumulation of, because I'm really, one thing I learned from people like Prince and, David Bowie and people like that is to really try to be yourself and be unique. And I thought at that time, I mean, if you listen to that first EP, it's called Funk Biscuits, and, it's mixed material, but I believe I kind of found my sound in a way where it was me. You could hear my influences, but at the same time, you could hear there's a new kid on the block. There's some new shit going on, and that's when I decided, like, I really need to take this serious and release some material. And then, obviously, with the advent of the internet and modern technology, Bandcamp, and this and that, it just became easy to do. Um, but yeah, I just felt like I was onto something, and I feel with every album I do, it's getting a bit closer to what I'm trying to achieve sound wise, and my identity as an artist. Because in the beginning I got a lot of, oh, it sounds like Prince, it sounds like this, and it sounds like that. But if you really listen, it really doesn't. I mean, you can hear hints, and that's always a given because everybody has inspiration, right? I mean, when Prince first came, it was Little Richard, meet Jimi Hendrix, meet James Brown. You're going to get that. But I hope, and as we continue, I hope people can really hear where I'm coming from and where I sit in this mix. So,
Yeah, I'm looking through your discography now on Bandcamp,
yeah,
going back and trying to figure out, years wise. Because
2009 was
the first one,
that first one. Yeah.
yeah. So 15 years now, hard to believe, right?
It's mad, man. Seems
But
like yesterday. I'm still getting started, Scott. I'm still uh, just getting warmed up, I feel like. So,
well, I discovered you, I'm pretty sure, through social media, probably like 7 years ago or whenever, because
okay.
you kept putting the stuff out, through
Yeah.
social. And that's how I discovered you because, I mean, there's not really very good channels otherwise to get
Right.
exposed to it,
Yeah.
especially here in America. I don't know if you were in America at that time or
Yeah,
not,
it
but
was actually. Yeah. Yeah.
okay. So, I mean, there's not radio stations going to play it. I mean, that's the thing. The internet's great. It's
Yeah.
good and bad. It's good because it gives you access to just about anyone, but
Right.
but it's such a vast, you know, whole, you got to find
You
it,
got to know where to look, man. Yeah,
Yeah, you got to turn over
absolutely.
those right stones, and find
Right,
it.
right.
Yeah.
But see, through channels like you and what you're doing, and there's a few cats out there that really own in on the funk, and so it becomes a bit easier if people know. And so you're doing us a great service, man, as funk artists. You're narrowing it down, man, that crazy internet shit.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
try to do my part because, it's such a passion and love for me and all
right.
those artists you mentioned and then them filtering through newer artists like yourself, it's just a
Yeah,
special and beautiful thing, so
yeah.
um but your latest record, really cool. Congratulations on it for sure.
Thank you. Thank you. We had lots of fun, man. Got
Yeah.
some cool guests on there too. Got a Gabe from P-Funk, Gabe Gonzalez. He put it down. Actually got Corey D. Williams. I don't know if you're hip, but he's the son of Billy D. Williams, the famous actor You Want My Arm to Fall Off, right? And he hit me up on Instagram, and he's a bass player and producer as well. And he said, "Man, put me on one of your tracks, man." So we made it happen. It was cool. Very cool people. Yeah.
What was it always your intent, being inspired by people like Stevie and Sly and Prince,
Yeah.
to, produce almost all the music yourself?
I think it just happened for me naturally because at the time in Germany, even though I had some musician friends, but everybody was doing like dance floor shit or techno or, trying to pay the bills. And I couldn't really find players that could play what I wanted to hear. So it kind of came naturally that I would have to learn it and then, put it down. And, it was kind of rough, man. I mean, funk back then. Okay, we had obviously the Princes and we had some mint conditions and here and there, but it was far and few in between. And drum machines were big, man. So I kind of had to learn it, but I didn't mind because I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the process and every instrument. I love it equally, really.
What's your process like generally, in terms of, creating the songs and then, laying them down?
Uh, it really differs, man. I mean, it can be a groove, it can be a melody, it can be a line of a title or something, or you see some on TV and you just, hear some groove behind it. It really differs. I really don't have no set method. And I think for me, what's cool is, for example, if I write on guitar, it will come out differently than if I start on a keyboard or a groove. It really shows you the different writing styles. Like my more rock oriented stuff is usually starts on guitar. My more jazzy grooves, it probably would be on keyboards. But it's really all over the place, you know. So
But do you typically lay down the rhythm first or and vocals last, or how do you kind of do that?
yeah, usually I try to create the bed for the vocals, but it's usually like if I have an idea for a lick, I will find a groove for it and then play the drums, do like a little loop or something, and then play the licks and see what goes around it, and then just scat to the song, or sometimes it will be a lyric that's already I can hear. Like literally, some songs really come as one piece. It's so funny, right? Like you will wake up and you just hear this whole piece and it has a meaning and it has colors and you just have to capture it. It's really like being a vessel. And but yeah, usually it starts with drums, bass, more rhythmic elements. And then other times it can just be a piano line and then you fill out around that. So it really depends. Yeah.
And how do you generally know, like, okay, this track is done, it's ready, I'm moving on to the next one?
Because when I hear it 1 week later and it hits me like a brick in the face, I'm like, yes, this is ready, man. This gotta go out. But then, I I kid you not, I got so many tracks on this laptop. It's stupid. I can see why Prince had a vault because I mean, there's so many ideas, and I constantly record. Even now, I got my phone and I got my little recorder on there, so there's tons of ideas on there as well. And it's just I feel blessed, man, because I really feel open right now in this point in my life. I feel like I can write, any day, every day, all the time. And I try to treasure that and make use of it as much as I can, because as you grow up as a musician, you're trying to learn your craft. And sometimes it doesn't come so easy. But then sometimes you realize, for me, I always wanted to be like a virtuoso player. And then one day it hit me like, man, you don't need to be all that. Like, what do you really want to be? Do you want to be this known for your crazy licks, or do you want to be a singer-songwriter? And once I narrowed that down, it really opened me up to, okay, I want to be this, and I need to just focus on writing the best songs I can and putting the best message out that I can. So it's kind of confusing in the beginning, because there's so many things and you get inspired by so many people and they're all great, but you have to kind of narrow down where you want to go and what you want to be. So I'm not going to be a Jaco Pastorius on bass, but that's cool, because I can play a groove like that and still it'll be all right.
Well, part of it too is knowing, everyone has their own limitations, so you got to know kind of what those are, and then work within that toward your objective.
Yeah.
But what does success look like for you musically? How do you feel fulfilled?
First of all, liking what I do, that's already the biggest success for me. I love what I do. I wake up and I I write songs that I like to hear. So that's success right there. But then the greatest experience is when you play a show and then you see people actually singing your lyrics, showing up and telling you, hey, man, I really enjoyed it, or this song means this to me, or something. That's success, man. I can care less about Spotify streams, which don't mean anything anyway.
Yeah. I mean, you talk about really liking the old sound, and the analog vibe and all that, but also just the way the business has gone, with that streaming nonsense and just ripping off the artists. It's terrible.
Artists used to complain, and rightfully so, about some of those record deals, but I think Spotify is pimping on a whole nother level, man. They figured it out to really, you don't see shit.
Yeah. I mean, Prince would really be flipping out now if he.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's only gonna last so long. People get arrogant and they're gonna push it as far as it goes. But I believe people will always seek out good, real music, and they will find ways to get it and support the artists as well. I really do. Whether it's at the show or, buying merchandise, or, I mean, because you want it, and, you want that feeling. And Spotify right now is kind of filling it, but it's also too, I don't know. It feels, I don't know how to explain it. Like there's too much, like an oversaturation.
Overload. Yeah.
Right. And you don't appreciate it as much, like, and every crate digger, record collector and stuff will tell you when you find that rare gem, I mean, it's priceless, or that certain song you were looking for forever and whatever. And that kind of gets lost with Spotify. It's just constantly bang, 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 bang. But where's the feeling,
Oh yeah, we could do a whole thing. We could do this
on
whole
that.
show
Oh yeah,
talking about that, man. But I'm right there with you. But
definitely.
I want to keep it on
Right.
Saul. But yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, anyway,
Yeah.
so but you talk about your musical progression, and you've had some variety on your different releases for sure. And like Popsicle, was definitely, and maybe you called it Popsicle because it was a little more pop, a little more upbeat, and
Very. Yeah. You caught that.
and
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
the new one is definitely funkier and more spacey, and I think
Right.
your guitar is a little more prominent.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, all stuff, I favor for sure.
Thank
Uh,
you.
yeah. So, talk about that a little bit about how you changed lanes, from one release to the other like that.
Right. Well, with this last one, I think I arrived in a new genre. It just kind of came one night. It hit me because I was hearing everybody was doing funk, right? And there was funk here and funk there and funk everywhere. And it kind of felt like when George said, they should have seen the bull when he funked the cow. It was that kind of thing. Like, where's the real funk anymore? And I was working actually on the track with Gabe, What the Fuzz. And it kind of hit me. I said, you know what? I'm just gonna call it the fuzz. Like that's gonna be my sound now. And that was one of the first tracks on this record. So all the other songs, I was kind of focusing on the fuzz. What does the fuzz mean to me, and what should it sound like? And I think it's just getting started, man. But I think it's something that real funk lovers will appreciate as well because it's pure, and the fuzz really stands for that feeling when the funk hits you and it's just so pure and uncut and raw. That's kind of where we were heading. And we nailed it on some of the tracks, I believe. But
Uh,
it's just getting started, man. I mean, you know,
yeah, I love that track for sure. It's got a little bit of Bernie influence on the keys
oh
probably,
yeah,
and
of course. Yeah,
yeah, uh,
yes.
and just it starts off so cool too with that first track, and it's a real like down tempo
Yeah.
P-Funk Prince influences for sure. Makes me think a little bit of like 3121,
Right.
the
That
vibe,
raw.
you know.
Yes, yes, yes. It's nasty, man.
Yeah.
Right, right.
And then Smash It Up. It's more upbeat, but definitely hear some Sly and Prince influences there, and
Yeah,
grooving on that one. Every Drop with Joey Satellite, who I don't know, but I've seen him on some different releases. What's his story?
yeah. Joey is a guy. He's actually in real life. He's my brother-in-law, and he's a very, very talented vocalist and rapper from the Bay Area. And I met him a long time ago in Reno. He was out there. I was out there, and we connected musically in our own universe, and have been doing so many projects, man. Some of them which I just need to release one day. But Joey Satellite is his hip hop name. He also goes by George Andre, which is where he sings. He's an excellent vocalist. I mean, I dare say very close to Marvin, man. He reminds me of Marvin when he opens his mouth. He really got that raw emotion in him. And but he's a hip hop connoisseur like I am as well. And this was just one of those projects where it needed, because that song kind of went DJ Quick, West Coast. It's got that flavor. And who better to call than the guy from Richmond, California? You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
he laced that for us, and it was fun. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a jam. And you
Thank you.
mentioned you mentioned those, vibes in it, but also, and maybe it's only me, you tell me, but I'm picking up a little bit of that sound and vibe of Fantastic Voyage.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
definitely. But that's what they sampled anyway. If you remember Coolio, he had
Uh-huh.
a fantastic
Oh
voice.
yeah.
Remember?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's definitely some lakeside and some
Yeah.
of that groove going on. Yeah.
Yeah. Dip is really fun. Down, you
Dip.
talk about the down and dirty funk, you know.
Dip is actually, listen, so I have this friend. She she doesn't want to be called a singer, but I met her while I was still in America, and she is an artist from London, and we work together here and there. She was on a song called Maxine. I don't know if you remember. We done a song called Maxine, talking about the pandemic and stuff. But anyway, her name is Lorraine Marlene, and she's just, in my eyes, a multi-talented butterfly. She can do anything. And that song, literally, I was playing that lick on the guitar, and she came in a bathrobe with slippers on, and she's like, "What is that shit you're playing, man? Give me the microphone." And she snatched that thing, and I swear, in one take, Scott, she just laid that, and that became Dip, you know. So sometimes we do fun stuff like that. But it was
Yeah.
cool capturing that, you know, that initial fuzzy feeling. That's what the fuzz is. That feeling, you know, when it hits you. And when I get to capture that, I feel really blessed, you know. So
The looseness, the fun, the
right,
spontaneity, you
right,
know. Yeah.
yeah,
Uh, and then I hear a little bit of, Camille type voicing, and some of that.
yeah, yeah. We do all of that. Tape up, tape down. You know, we employ all the effects, but it's still me, though. You know, but I do love Camille, and I do have that album, that Camille album. It's one of my favorites, actually, because it's so raw. You know, that was him at his rawest, I think.
Yeah, that and
Feel
like the
you up.
Black Album were probably the funkiest.
Oh man,
Yeah. Um,
think he pulled that, you know.
but he could, man. He was
Of
so
course he could.
badass, so
Right,
badass. It was no
right.
biggie.
Yes.
I like Love Sexy just as much. So,
That's right. Yeah.
um, how do you decide how much to like, process your voice in a track or what, type of style to go for with your voice?
Again, it's really depends on the song, but I try to keep it as a at a minimum. I don't try to do too much. I don't even know what auto tune, how I would use it, but it's usually just really mic, some tube processing, and maybe a little bit of reverb. A lot of my vocals don't even have reverb, really. It's just like a room or something, you know, uh, just to give it a bit of space. But I try to keep it as raw as possible. I don't like too many effects on things, you know, other than,
What's your favorite guitar these days?
man, I just picked up like a Les Paul copy. It's an English one. It's called Vintage V100. It's actually in the other room, but you'll see it on one of my videos. Man, that thing plays beautifully. It's like an expensive 68 Les Paul, you know, it's got that feeling. So I'm more of a Gibson kind of guy, I guess. I mean, I did have my Strat and I had a Telly for a while, but maybe because I started on a Les Paul, it just feels the most natural to me, you know. I get around the fretboard pretty easy, so and I love that full-bodied sound, you know, that texture. So, but I know it's supposed to be more of a rock guitar, right? I don't care. We're gonna make it fuzz, right?
On some of the rest of the tracks on this new one, like is it Yams?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, Yams.
right.
And Stone, closing one, even Sincere. It's like you kind of shift the mood of the record a little bit toward the
Mm,
last third, and it gets
yeah,
like more like spacey and dreamy and trippy,
right.
you know?
Yes, yes, yes. Well, again, that's the Pink Floyd in me. That's all that Emerson, Lake and Palmer. You know, my father, he was into all that, and it's definitely in me. And I love Pink Floyd, man. You know, I love that sound. So I go into that sometimes.
Some, a nice piano you threw in there in spots.
Yeah.
Yeah. And good rock guitar on the closer.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Stone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Stone is my inspirational song. I actually wrote it for my friend, just her personality and her being strong, you know, in daily life and what she went through. So it kind of came really quick and natural, just looking at her. Yeah. But she loves that song, so that's great. Another success, right?
It's funny how some of the songs, are so simple, just one word titles,
Right.
and others,
Isn't it?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
But sometimes just one word says it all, right?
That's all it takes. Sometimes less is more, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So what do you do principally to kind of promote yourself? I mean, I know, I mentioned social media and,
Mm,
you play some shows and do
yeah.
you do anything else to kind of market, what you're doing?
Well, I try to, um, like I said, next year we really want to hit the road, and I got some merchandise. I'm gonna have some vinyl because I had some requests for vinyl. So I want Electric Peachy Cocoa Fuzz on vinyl, man. That would be a great thing. But I'm just pretty much working the social media as much as I can, you know. Probably gonna do some shows on TikTok with that TikTok live now. Uh, do some things like that, and looking for a good manager, man, that believes in it and would like to help. You know, building the team to make it more successful, I guess. But it's really most of it is all me. I mean, I do the covers, I do the write ups. You know, it's kind of a one man band right now.
You do all the videos too, because you got a lot of
I,
videos.
I do the videos. I got a guy, Tony Paris. He does the editing, but I do the concepts and some of the graphics because as I told you, I do graphics as well. And just which is great because I have full control and I can kind of, it's it's my input, so I don't have to worry about that. But yeah, man.
Yeah, well, hopefully this will help out in my small way. Um,
I'm
you know, and
sure it
also, as
will.
you know, I've had you on some of the, year-end lists and things like that. So
Yes, yes. I
yeah,
appreciate that. Yeah.
for you, Saul, what would you say are your top three or five songs that you've created so far and why?
Okay, so definitely Stone, this last one. I think I captured something there and I'm proud of it. I like Yams. I like Take Me to Your Son from the album Autopilot. It's kind of a punky, punk funk kind of upbeat. I don't know
Yeah,
if you remember it, but it's a
that's going.
fun
That's
track, man.
yeah, that's going back a ways. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. um, I like it because it's got a raw energy, and playing that song live really kicks ass, man. I mean, people really feel that. We've done it, and it's great. It's very effective. Um, I like Planes. I don't know if you know Planes off of Autopilot as well. It's got a very Pink Floyd sound to it, but it's very psychedelic, mellow, trippy. Um, God, there's so many.
that's four, but only from two albums so far.
Exactly. I'm running out of I need more numbers. I need more Deliria. Do you know Deliria off of Funk Biscuits?
Um, I probably heard it, but don't know it by name.
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of a spaced out, futuristic, nasty funk track that I captured something in there. But
Um,
yeah, sorry, five ain't gonna do, Scott, because I got 8 full-length albums.
yeah, and I'm trying to poke through some of them too, and
Yeah. You
well,
know,
I like some of the stuff on Toiteau also.
oh man, Plateau, exactly. See?
Yeah,
So,
Fat Foot and
oh yeah.
Spumanti.
Okay, cool, cool.
That's some
You
cool
hip,
stuff there.
right?
Yeah,
Nice.
Yeah.
Yes, I got a lot of music, man. You know, and I love it. I love it. It just comes, and I'm gonna do it as long as I can. You know, this is it for me. I knew with 16 what I was gonna do, but I didn't know it was gonna be this much. But I love it every day. You know, it's a blessing.
Do you have like a musical bucket list? I mean, like a couple of people that you would love to have like either guest on your record or maybe you could go do something on theirs?
Man, I gotta get Bootsy on one of these tracks. You know, I tried it with that. Remember that coffee thing he had? And
Uh-huh.
I've done a little guitar thing, and he actually wrote me on LinkedIn, and he liked it, and he was gonna put some track together on. No, actually, he said, "Can you make me a 4-minute song of this? Can you lay some drums and some more?" And I've done it, and he's like, "Thanks, man." And I never heard from him since. So
So
I
that's
don't know
what, like
what's
two
going
years
on.
ago or something?
Yeah, that was a
Yeah.
while ago. But maybe one day he will release it. I hope so. You know, I know he's a busy man, but I'd love to get Bootsy on there. You know, George, that would be great. I have actually a song, Scott, for Shaka Khan. I swear. It's like her next Ain't Nobody. I have it. She needs to call me. Shaka, baby, please. Do it. Yeah. So yeah, you know, it's all the legends, man. But
I want to get hooked up with Shaka myself, but for sure.
man, yeah.
Yeah.
I just heard her say somewhere she was gonna retire. Like, you can't.
Well,
Don't
maybe
do
it's only from performing, I hope, and not from
it.
recording.
Right, right,
Yeah.
probably. Yeah.
Because Bootsy too, he hasn't, performed in a number of years
Yeah,
now.
right. Yeah.
He was
But
supposed to
he's
have a
busy.
he was supposed to have a record out this month, but I think it got pushed back.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
He's coming heavy too, man. His new stuff is, boy, he ain't slowing down for nothing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta love that guy. Just his attitude and just
That's what I'm talking. Positivity, you know. I mean,
and
just I remember reading a story where George would find him in the studio. He fell asleep with a smile on his face. Like he actually smiled while he's sleeping, you know. Gotta love it.
for
Yeah,
sure. Yeah.
great
Uh,
people.
what
Yeah.
what would be like your five I'm gonna put you on the spot.
Okay.
Doesn't have to be definitive, Saul. You can, it's just going to be whatever it is when we're talking right now. But what would be
Right.
your five desert island albums?
Oh man. Miles Davis, Amandla, um, Prince, the Sign of the Times Deluxe Edition.
That's like 8 CDs. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That'll keep you warm for a minute.
Uh-huh.
Um, God, that Parliament, that compilation that came out in the 90s, it was like, I forgot what it was called. Parliament, you probably have it right there.
Well, I don't know if this is when you're talking about, and if we're talking,
Yes, that's the one.
yeah, tear the roof off.
Tear the roof off. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Okay.
I used to have that. Yeah. Um,
I gotta always have the serious funk within arm's reach. So
right. You're always prepared.
yeah.
Um, God. Joni Mitchell, any compilation will do. Love me some Joni. And one more.
Stevie.
Stevie, man. It actually just entered my mind. Stevie. Any compilation, but if they had like just the 70s, that's my era. That was a big one for me. I studied that.
I don't know.
Music from oh man.
There's this one is the one that at the close of the century has it all on there, 4 CDs. My
Right.
background keeps messing it up. There we
Yeah, I
go.
know you kind of keep going out, but
Okay, there you go.
is that what years is that?
It covers everything from the 20th century.
Oh, everything. Okay.
Four
Well, there
CDs,
you
but it's
go.
got, all that 70s stuff on there.
Right,
Yeah, but
right.
60s also.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Well, there you have it, man. I'll be just fine. And give
I
me a
bet.
little Tascam 4-track, and it's even better, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever get to see Prince live?
Yeah. Actually, I was lucky enough. He had a warm-up show in Reno for the musicology tour, and we got to see it. And, it was nothing less than outlandishly amazing. They carried him out in the speaker, the speaker boxes, and they rolled him out and he jumped out and off he went. It was a good tour. I wish I could have seen him during, back in the 80s, but I was too young and he didn't do a Sign of the Times, right?
Only
Did he do it?
overseas, not in America.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a period from like Parade through early 90s, where he just only did mostly overseas and not much in
Right.
America.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that era, man. That whole Sign of the Times, even Parade. I love Parade. That French influence is brilliant. You know, I mean, you just pick and choose. You got everything you need.
But was that the only time that you got to see him though?
Yeah, that was the only time. Yeah,
Did he
unfortunately.
on that one, did he include that acoustic set?
Yes, he
And
did. Yes, he
yeah,
did. He came out. Yeah,
yeah,
right.
yeah, that was hot.
Yeah.
I saw him do a warm up for that tour up in San Francisco at the Fillmore.
Okay.
That was that was really cool. And then seeing
Yeah.
the big show like that he did after on the tour.
Right.
Yeah,
Did you see any of the like Love Sexy and other you've been there? Huh? Nice.
I saw them all. I saw his first show he ever did on the West Coast, 1979.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Like the For You tour or the what was that? Or the Prince
he just had the second record was out
second
on
record.
his first
Yeah.
show, but he was only still singing falsetto, wearing the bikini briefs and the
Oh
leg
yeah.
warmers,
I've seen
and
I've seen some of that footage. Yeah.
yeah,
Rock and roll, baby.
and it
Yeah.
was just a 300 seat, you know,
Right.
venue. Yeah,
Amazing.
yeah,
Wow. You were in LA, right?
yeah. I'm from Los Angeles, and
You were
so
from
I was
LA.
there until 2006.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
so I got to see anyone I wanted because pretty much
Anyone,
everyone came to
right.
LA. Yeah,
Oh, I can imagine. At the Troubadour, did you?
I didn't go there so much. I mean, I know the venue, but
Yeah.
the Forum many times, the
Right.
Roxy, the House of Blues,
Yeah.
Palladium, Palace,
Mm,
um, just Staples Center. Later on, the LA Sports Arena is where I saw Love Sexy.
right. Okay.
Um, yeah, just on and on. And Prince came there a lot. So, and he had his
Yeah.
own club there, Glam Slam, that I went to many times.
All right. Glam Slam. Yeah. In LA. And in
Yeah,
Florida, right? As well. He had one.
Miami,
Yeah.
LA, and London
Right.
and
Okay.
Minneapolis. He had four of them at the peak.
Damn.
Yeah, but when you came on board with that Symbol album, that and the Gold album were my favorite of his from the '90s.
Oh, yeah. It's a masterpiece, man. And it's just, it's like so wide in styles people don't even realize. I mean, from hip hop to jazz to even classical and to rock opera. Stop it, he could just go anywhere. And it
Yeah,
was in such a crucial time as well in his career. He was going through the whole Warner Brothers thing, and then what came thereafter. And I actually liked all those albums as well. I love Chaos and Disorder. I love all those
Come and
Calm, and yeah.
yeah,
It's That's when I kind of got into him and really appreciated, his artistry. And but but a lot of people didn't like it, or they thought he went a little nutty, but he was making a point.
Yeah. Well, just to me, if somebody is such a genius and produces such amazing music and such an incredible talent,
Yeah,
whatever, man, just do your thing,
right.
write stuff on your face, change your name to unpronounceable
Do whatever
symbol,
you got to do,
whatever, man, but
but
you
keep
still,
bringing that funk, man, please. Yes.
that's
Oh
all,
man,
that's all, man.
yeah, definitely.
All
And
right.
now, it's funny because we take so many things for granted now, but people don't realize he was really a pioneer, even in internet music and MPG Music Club and all these things. He done that way back, you know, being independent, doing this streaming and selling your merchandise. I mean, what can you
Just
say? Brilliance.
just even all the people that worked with him, they can't explain how he was so prodigious, and
Right.
do so many things well.
Yeah.
Movies
Yeah.
and films that no one even gets to see, and just
I know. I know.
constant performing multiple
Yeah.
shows in a day,
Right.
recording a great song at the end of it, it's just like
Right.
unbelievable, man. No one can
The
ever.
after shows, man. Come
Yeah,
on. That's
yeah,
where it's at. What
yeah.
do you think of that Netflix, that documentary thing that we'll never get to see? I'm gonna leak it. I'm gonna see a leak somewhere. I know it.
I just watched those guys. I don't know if you watched that video that said that they got to see it and they talked about it.
Uh-huh.
And I guess according to them, there's some revelations in it, that aren't that favorable. But
Right.
again, it even with that though, they say that it doesn't diminish his genius or what he
Right.
accomplished at all. It's just he's a human,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
But I think a lot of us fans knew anyway. I mean, him being tough on the band, or okay, maybe he had a slip of the wrist with some girls, but it's the price of greatness, I guess. But like you said, it's human. At the end of the day, look at all the beautiful things he brought to humanity. You know,
and he was generous too. He gave to a lot of good causes, and
right,
you
right,
know,
without even wanting to be mentioned. Yeah,
mhm.
definitely. Yeah. So slap me any day, man. Just keep bringing that funk. So good. But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
So do you have any hope for the future of funk?
I do. Yeah, I do, because I think, as George Clinton said, funk is always coming, never going anywhere. And it's true. It's just nature. Funk is that, and it will always be with us. And I think it will just take different shapes and forms, just like hip hop, just like rock and roll, just like any genre, jazz. Now we're having it seems more of a poppy kind of funk. I hear a lot of it coming out. And then we'll probably have some AI funk, which I'm not worried about, because please, that's not funky at all. You know where the funk is, man. For me, it's in the mistakes. I I figured that out. Like when you record, and then these happy mistakes happen, and you listen back, and you're like, "Oh my God, what is that?" That's the funk. You know, if you can capture that, you're all right.
Definitely. I mean, so much of the great players in funk had little idiosyncrasies.
Idiosyncrasies. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
Right,
in how they did it. They were slightly behind the beat or off the beat or whatever, and
right.
it was what
Which
made it.
made it
Yeah.
right. Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
AI. I can't see AI ever doing that. You know, right?
Stop it. Well, you would have to put in play some funky music with mistakes in it, and then it's gonna be some bullshit. Come on. I'm not
Yeah.
worried about it, man.
Maybe that's what'll help really bring the funk back in a big way. Is things will turn to AI, and
Right.
people are going to be
Tired of it.
realizing more than ever how special
Right.
funk is.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Also, I have to mention, Jay Dilla, the hip hop producer. was a big influence for me personally, just for the way I approached the groove. And he made me focus more on, you know, humanizing the rhythm. So a lot of the drums I play, whether it's real drums or drum machines, I usually play them by hand. And I like, if I have some drum sounds on my keyboard or something, I will play the whole song through, you know, to keep the human feel. Even if it's like some Lin drum or whatever, you know, I happen to use. But yeah, he was another genius, man. Needs to be mentioned. He definitely had the funk. And he learned from Amp Fiddler, so, you know, go figure. Yeah.
Yeah. Rest in peace, Amp.
Right. Rest in peace. Yeah.
Yeah, we lost, man, losing too many. And
Oh man, just this year, man, it's been madness. Yeah.
yeah, I was really hoping to get Amp on my show, and he wasn't doing well, so missed out. But that's a shame because
Right.
he's another one of those guys, you know, that legacy needs to be preserved in some kind of way.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely, man. They're doing some things in Detroit I've seen, but you know, people don't realize how influential he really was, I think, you know.
And just what an independent free spirit musically. I
Right.
mean, his own stuff, you know, he really
Oh,
he
man.
went out there, man.
Of course he did. Boss of a ghetto superfly. Stop it. That yeah. So now we're getting to modern artists. So definitely it would be Amp Fiddler. Um, do you know Bilal? I love Bilal,
Yeah,
the vocalist. Yeah, I really appreciate his work. Um, Sarah Creative Partners out of LA. They're like a little trio of producers, and they really have a very special sound, man. It's kind of retro, futuristic, almost like Sun Ra, but with hip hop, you know.
mm.
Uh, so there's some good stuff out there, man. But you know, you just gotta find it, as we said. You gotta look for it, you know.
Yeah. That's why, you know, the year-end lists typically
Yeah,
have a lot of people in them for funk that
right.
many people maybe not have heard of yet, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
And
definitely.
even from overseas too. I'm sure you know a lot of the funk's coming from, you know, Europe and other places like
Oh
that now
yeah,
too, you
yeah,
know.
yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Is there
So,
any was there any other relation to a Romanian funk other than you?
no, there can only be one. No, man. We have a big hip hop scene. We have some good hip hop, you know, groups, but nah, I don't know. It's just a happy accident. Another one of those happy accidents. And I gotta thank my parents, man. You know, they really influenced me. They were free spirited. They couldn't stay in Romania if they tried, you know, they had to escape. And so
Did they like and support your music pursuits?
that's the funny thing. They really didn't, you know. Like when I was 16, I kind of left home. I had a job, but I kind of left home because, you know, first of all, my parents were divorced. Second of all, they didn't want to hear of me being no musician. That was in no way, shape, or form, you know, acceptable. But they've come around, you know. They're they're liking my stuff now on Facebook and they share it. So that's a good sign, you know. My mom loves the song Stone. She said it's the best ever. So that's success, you know what I mean? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, so the record came out in August or was it September?
August, yeah.
Yeah.
August 14th.
Yeah. So how's it you know, the reaction been, you know, is it and what were your expectations?
It just gets better with every album, you know. I get more and more fans and people write me. I've recently done an interview with a magazine in Germany, Sonic Realm magazine. They picked it up and we've done a whole interview feature. So it's spreading slowly but surely, you know, it's getting better. And I think really the missing element is me being out there, you know, bringing it to the people live. That's gonna be crucial. So I'm really zoning in on this right now and trying to get the band as tight as I can and just play, you know. I mean, that's really kind of the missing thing. I think everything else, we got videos, we got merchandise is coming, but you got to play live. And I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to that because really I enjoy playing live. Like I tell you, Scott, when I hit the stage, I was very at first scared, but when I hit the stage with Larry Graham, I told you, my friend dragged me up. It was, it felt like home. I really didn't have any problem. He gave me the mic and we sang If You Want Me to Stay, and we just danced, and it was natural, man. So, I really like performing and I really like the reaction and, hyping people up. It's great. And you get that instant feedback, which is why
Yeah.
we play music in the first place. I mean, come on, you know.
Yeah. 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 And the energy, you feed off each other,
Absolutely.
especially with funk style music.
Absolutely.
But yeah, you got to do that, man. If you do that, I'm
Yeah.
sure it's going to really help your
Yeah.
effort for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Because nowadays, like grassroots is like really
right.
important, for
Right.
funk especially.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if I can ever be of any other help, glad to do it.
Okay. I'll definitely keep you in mind. I mean, you already been of help because, I'm sure a lot of my new fans came from your corners and, or reading your articles. And I've been now three or four times in a row. I was in your top 20. So I appreciate that, man. I even put that in my bio. I put, Truth and Rhythm top 20 funk, album of the year. So,
Yeah. Well, I think you're definitely in the running again. I'll just say that.
oh, okay, okay. Right on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, because this new one is definitely at least as good as, predecessors to me. So
Thank you. It's
yeah.
definitely different. I think you heard the difference, right? We've kind of went into a deeper realm of it. And I'm really looking forward to explore the fuzz, wherever that's gonna go. But their songs, what is it called? Sincere. It's a little instrumental. It comes on, I think it's song number 9 or 10.
Yeah.
But
What about it?
that's actually one of my favorites. I feel it's an instrumental, but I really think I captured some some outlandish shit in there. It's just, and it was one of those one take songs as well, where you layer after layer, but it just sounds bigger and bigger, and it just became this thing. And that's what I like when I hear something and I feel it immediately. I get a feeling from it, and it
Well,
takes me somewhere else.
yeah, that's one of the ones too. I was talking about being, kind of dreamy and
Right.
kind of a sweeping feel.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. Right.
Like it's taking you somewhere.
Well, it's almost like a psychedelic experience, if you will,
Yeah.
without any substance. But
Yeah. Well, after you tell me about the Pink Floyd, thing, it makes sense. So,
right.
yeah.
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 Um,
Yeah, man.
all right. Well, man, it's been great getting to know you better and,
Yes, definitely.
knocking it around like this for sure.
Right.
And, wish you all the success you can find for sure. And
Thank you,
just,
man.
on behalf of funk fans everywhere, thank you for bringing it.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. And thanks for keeping the funk alive,
Always,
We
man.
need it, man. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Why don't you give any social contacts or website or anything you want to plug before we sign off?
Yes. So saul.bandcamp.com. That's where you can find all my stuff and sometimes some rarities that I might release that are not available on other platforms. I'm on TikTok at Saul Boogie. I'm on YouTube at Saulicious, and Facebook Saul Bumbu, Bumbu. So, and hopefully in a nice venue near you very soon, right?
Yeah, yeah. That's Saoul. Just make sure everyone gets that
Saoul.
spelling.
Yes,
Yeah,
right. It's got the
yeah,
soul in it, right?
yeah.
But,
Exactly.
you know, and thanks to all the people that do support the real funk and purchase and, you know, keep this thing rolling is much appreciated. And we're gonna just keep bringing it as much as we can, you know. So,
So can we still look forward to a record a year, or is it going to slow down if you're on
oh
the road so
no,
much?
it's just it's gonna be more, man. You know, I actually, since I've done Peachy Cocoa Fuzz, I already have half of the new album. I kid you not. It just, you know, it keeps coming, and I'm gonna capture it when I get it. It's gonna be recorded, you know. So look forward to a lot more as well, you know. And then, of course, the live stuff. I mean, I can't wait to come and bring those songs and stretch them out and perform them properly, you know, and spread the love. Yeah.
All right. Well, great. Saul, it's been fun, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.